Hey everybody, it's Retro Jojo. I just wanted to do another video about uh, horror and movies that I watched recently and Halloween and things like that. And in the last video, I was reminded that I did not show off the covers of the movies that I was reviewing, so I apologize for that. I just want to show them real quick. This one is House of a Thousand and the Corpses and Devil's Rejects, and it's on the Devil's Rejects. It's the unrated version. House of Thousands, the rated version, rated R version. I believe that's the only way that movie came out. And then you have the covers on the back. I don't know if you can see them, but it has artwork on the front, and then kind of just how they were released, what cover came out with the movies that was released on the back, and then a description like normal movies and things like that. And then this is a very different kind of release. It was right after the movie came out. This was a Three from Hell like release that was special, limited edition gift set. There it says it all on the front. That's what it is. It's a gift set. So it had that artwork on it. It has a shot of all three of them: Nightwolf, Otis, and Baby Firefly. And then it comes with as the regular standard artwork with three of them on it, Three from Hell written on it. And then it's got the rated, unrated. It's got a Blu-ray, a DVD, and a digital copy. So that's interesting. I gotta put this back in here real quick. Bear with me for just a second. I'll put it down. But it also came with a shirt. Now this shirt has been re-released since the movie's release. It's been mass distributed by now, I would suppose. But this is supposed to be like the screen accurate version, I believe, I believe Nightwolf wears this shirt, and it says Disco Sucks. And I very seldomly wear it because, you know, it's got a couple little frays and stuff, and I just don't want it to get ruined because it came with the limited edition gift box set. So didn't want it to get messed up, so I've kept it just kind of put away as a Rob Zombie collectible. So pretty cool. Now I want to review some movies that I have recently watched and just kind of talk about them briefly, and we'll go from there. So this is the Munsters. This is Rob Zombie's newest release, written and directed by Rob Zombie, and it has it's a PG movie, so it's kind of his family-friendly debut, if you will. I think it's very well written. I think it's very well made. I think as a writer and director, he's done a good job with being able to separate grindhouse and R-rated and even unrated cuts of the movies from family friendly. He knows what the difference is. He's an intelligent person. As far as that goes, he knows what he's doing, and he loves the Munsters, and that I believe that is portrayed very, very vividly in the way that he did the movie. He wanted to do it in black and white, which I respect that because that's the way he seen it as growing up. But Universal wouldn't let him do it in black and white, unfortunately. I don't know if they ever allowed for there to be like an option where you could go in and tweak it, make it black and white, or watch it in color. But the full color kind of does, wonders for the movie, in my opinion, because it's very neon-y. It has a very distinct vibe to the way that it looks, and the way it flows, and the way that all the characters move and how they interact with one another and things to that nature. And everybody says that Sherry Moon did a bad job in it, or a good amount of people, not everyone, but a good amount of people. They don't like the way that she performed in the movie. I think she did a really good job portraying Lily, because everyone says, oh, she should have did something different or something like that. And I don't agree with that, because I think she was trying to portray the character from the show, and that's what she was probably told to do in the first place. And I think as far as that goes, she did it well. She was very the dialogue, the way that Lily would act, um, maybe in the show, and how she, her hand gestures, the way she, like I said with some of the other characters, the way they move, and the whole story is kind of like a predecessor or prequel, or not a predecessor, but a before prequel to um, the show. So it feels like they just kind of go hand in hand. They go together, and that this, I can't remember the name, but there's a couple, and they want this house, the castle for themselves. They want the Munsters place, and Lester, the brother of Lily, and the Count's son, he's a werewolf, and they're vampires, and if you've ever seen it, and he just needs money and things of that nature, and he just kind of, once Herman and Lily get married, he kind of swindles Herman into signing their life away. Basically, he signs the lease for the house. It was giving them possession of the castle, and you know then they're wondering where they're going to live and things like that. And it very much feels like the show. I think he captured that really well. It's fun. It's family friendly. I don't remember there being maybe one cuss word in the movie. If you watch it with your kids, it's not vulgar at all. It's fun. It's friendly. It's inviting. The characters feel believable. The colors are nice and well displayed, or as some would say, like some of them are colors are pretty. I guess they always say guys don't say pretty, but it it is though. It's very well displayed, and just the way that they did Herman's backstory, yeah, like Frankenstein's monster. I thought the way that Rob did that's brilliant, because that's what Herman is. He's a Frankenstein, and if you've ever seen Frankenstein's monster, that's basically what this is in full color. So it's really interesting. You have Floop, and he goes and gets the wrong brain. He's supposed to get the most intelligent person, or second most intelligent person in the whole world, their brain, because they're in the same place, you know. The other one was the brother, and then Herman's brain was the other brother. Well, he got the wrong one, and Herman was a comedian, past life, and that carries over into the movie, and I laughed a little bit. I thought it's a very well, and it's well received. I'm not saying that, because a lot of people don't like it, that it's not a well received movie. Again, it was released through Universal, and a lot of people watched it. It did well for itself, as far as I know, and it was well received. It's gotten good reviews. It's had bad reviews. That's every movie, though. As far as the dialogue, like I said, I found myself laughing, and I found myself watching and thinking, what is going on? But I enjoyed it. It wasn't like, what's going on and I don't like it. It was, what is going on? I don't know, but I enjoy it. It was one of those moments. Like, there's a moment where they were going to change the channel, and Herman's on the TV show, and these beams like kind of shoot out of Lily's eyes, and she goes full, like her voice changes, and don't change that channel. It's just very throwback to the simpler times, I suppose. It's very, just, I don't know how else to put it. It's just, you have to watch it for yourself, I suppose, is the best way to put it. It's the best way to put it. Watch it for yourself, and you'll have your own opinion about it. I thought it was great. I thought the story was, it was good. Uh, Everybody knows one of my favorites is Star Wars. Is it up to par, maybe on my list with George Lucas? But no, but it's in, as far as from a directorial standpoint, uh, it's in the top 10. Rob Zombie's in the top 10 as far as directors and writers go. He's probably somewhere between George Lucas and I would say Quentin Tarantino. Um, he's in between that bracket, which is in like the top, like I said, the top 10 of my favorite directors, writers for movies. So other than that, all I can say is watch it for yourself, see if you like it as much as I did. Me and my wife, we both enjoyed the movie and had a blast watching it. So for a second time. Next, I want to talk about one that I just watched before this review, maybe a couple hours ago, and that's 31. We both watched this together as well. She'd never seen it before, and I like this movie, but there's some things. There are a couple of things I always talk about. I feel like I talk about positives a lot. The only negative that I can say, honestly, is there is a little bit of, pacing towards the end. And it's not that it's a bad movie at all, because it's just as much grindhouse as it feels very grindhouse, like Devil's Rejects, House of Thousand Corpses, or Three from Hell. It feels very real and it feels very believable. But there's just something in some sequences of different scenes. There's a little, how there's like a scene, and like when you go into like a DVD menu, and it shows you like you can select a scene. But in some of the scenes, some of the sequences that go between and make up the scene, it's not that the whole scene's bad, but there's a couple that just feel like maybe there's something on screen and it kind of pans away really quick. And I know that's for dramatic effect. But if I had to point out one negative, that would probably be my only gripe with it. Other than that, it feels like a mash between like the Hunger Games and just like a horror movie. That's basically it, or Grindhouse, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There you go. Hunger Games on one side, Texas Chainsaw, put them together, that you get 31. And that's the way I would describe it. You have clowns with two clown brothers with chainsaws, and they're gritty and nasty and perverted jokes. Again, it's like I was saying, it's an R-rated movie. It's gory. It's got some graphic depictions in it of things. Do I enjoy, like I said in the last one, do I enjoy all of those elements? No, but I enjoyed the story. As far as the story goes, because if a story tells a story and it's story driven, then it's more than likely, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a good story. If the story doesn't drive forward in a movie, in my opinion, and it doesn't continue, just like when people play 10, 20-hour games, but if the story sucks, and if you're not playing online or something like that, if the story's not good, or you don't enjoy the story, then you're going to be playing 20 hours of just being miserable, because you're going to want to finish it, but it's not good. I've had a couple of those games as well, and some of them I've still played again just because it wasn't that bad. And I feel like that's the same thing with movies. Any kind of media like that, a movie, a video game, a VR video game, things like that. If you don't like it, chances are and it's not the right story for you, or it's not something that you're interested in, chances are people's tastes change, but 9 times out of 10 it's going to be the same thing. They're probably not going to like it this 50th time that you play through it or watch it or whatever. And I would say 31 is kind of like a 8.9 out of 10. It's not perfect, but no movie is perfect. I think it's a very well-rounded movie. They get kidnapped and they get taken back to where 31 takes place. There's these people that dress up in these, like, I guess you could say, it's like, I don't know how you would put it, very high class, like England style, I don't know how to put it, just that period of time kind of clothing, like the big wigs, the very old timey but classy looking, the dresses, the bouffant looking shirts, I guess is how you would put it, on the guy. And they wear this and makeup, and the one little mole on the face. Ugh. always gives me chills. Most time they have hairs in them. Um, and just stuff like that, just what you would expect. They're very bougie. They're very high class, you know, and but they bet with like people's lives, and it's very. They're in like a cult. It's kind of like a cult, and they play 31 every year, and they kidnap people, and they take them back, and then these people have to entertain them for 12 hours. They have to try to survive. They're given odds of their survival, you know, and it's very grindhouse. It's very, you know, the one of the guys falls on a chainsaw. There's a lot of quick. I guess you could say that's a good way to put it. You know, in House of a Thousand or other movies like that, where you know it's going to be pretty gory. The gore is like drawn out or like taken down a certain uh, long stretch of a scene where it's, you know, gore scene after gore scene after gore scene. But in this movie, it's like quick bam and it's over. Instant gore. There you go. There's a good word. You know, like instant breakfast. This is instant gore in this movie. It's quick. It's, you know, boom, it happens, and then it's kind of on to the next scene. It's not. It doesn't drag out very much. There's confrontations in a couple of scenes, but they don't last as long as maybe another movie kind of confrontation scene like that would. But all in all, it's a interesting movie. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it has a couple of adult elements in it, so um, just know it's a movie. You know what you're getting into when you read the rating anyway. I've said that before. I don't want to beat a dead horse with that, but it very entertaining. I enjoyed it. She thought it was pretty good, I think, or okay. It's probably at the bottom of the list of his films for me, and that doesn't mean that it's the worst thing ever, but it's just not as good, maybe, as, I mean, you can't touch the House Without. That's my favorite of his movies, and I said that before, and it's just good. It's to me, it's kind of a middle of the road type of thing. It was a good movie. It was okay, and I don't think he did a bad job with it. I think Rob did what he could, and I believe it was fan funded too. So he did what he could with the budget as well. And as far as that goes, he did a decent job, I think, with what he had available to him. But he always pulls it together, in my opinion, no matter what. If he has Universal, or if he has another, you know, like a fan or crowd or people funded movie, and he uses, I think it's Spook Show International, which is like his, where he could film his own movies. It's like independent movie making, or he has some other, you know, company or production studio or whatever doing his movie, or shooting his movie rather, shooting the film, and he's telling them, you know, what to do, because he's the writer and the director of all of his films. But it doesn't matter what kind of budget he always pulls it together, and I respect that he always tries to pull it together. He does the same thing with his music. You know, you'll hear one song, like when he releases a single or something like that, and you're like, okay, I like it, but he's gonna make what he wants to make, whether you prefer it or not. Just like they're even on the, I'll just say this real quick, on the newest record that he did, I used to love all of it, and then my taste kind of changed, and I went back to like early to late White Zombie and early Rob Zombie. I like that record still. It's okay. The first half of it's better than the second half, in my opinion. That's just me. It's just one person's opinion. Do I still like him? Yes. And I believe that everybody should be able to have their own opinion about stuff like that. That's just how it is. And before I move on to the next one, I want to mention something. I'm doing a little bit of backtracking here, but there was something I wanted to mention about the Munsters. First movie review I did that I didn't mention, and I meant to mention it and I forgot. But he puts a good message in there about people being different. And I just want to put this out there. Everybody's different. And, they think the Munsters, when they move into this new house, it's not the castle anymore, and they're not in Transylvania. They're not in the middle of nowhere, all secluded by themselves. And living in that world, where it's all just like Halloween inspired characters and people. It's not like that. It's the real world, and they see them dressed up at first in the movie as, and spoiler alert, but they see them dressed up as like Halloween characters, or they think they look like them, and that's the normal in this new neighborhood. And they're gonna fit right in, and Herman gets a job and things like that, and him and Lily are married, and they're happy. Life couldn't be better. And then the next day, everybody it's sunshine and roses and back to normal suburban or American life, And they're kind of like, well, these people are weird. But then the other people freak out because they think surely they went home and took their costumes off like everybody else. They're not wearing costumes. That's them. That's how they look. That's how they never change. And I just thought that was interesting. I thought that was a good message for him to put out there in the world, because the world needs more of that. That it's okay. Everybody's different, but we all have a heartbeat. We're all the same. We're all human, and we all have a soul. I believe. I believe that. I believe there's people that don't. I have friends that don't, but I believe everybody has a soul and everybody has a choice. And I won't share my beliefs and all that, but I just thought that, not at least not in this video. Save that for another time. But it was very encouraging, and I thought it was the way that he did it was even funny, and that made it even better, because you could laugh at it and you could get something out of it. But anyway, we'll move on to the last one, and this is one that my wife did not watch with me. She's terrified of bugs, and maybe not certain bugs, but spiders and things like that, things that fly and can sting you and things like that. And I don't like stuff like that either, but I enjoyed this movie. I watched it with my friend, my good buddy George, and shout out to George. And we talked about the movie afterward. We both liked it, but it's none other than Stephen King's The Mist. And she hates this cover too. I've walked in the living room a couple of times with lights off and seen the cover and been like, oh, it's just The Mist. But because it looks like a human face. If you look at it, I just want to talk about this cover. It's gnarly. It looks like a human face, but then this is like a spider thing. It'll give you the creepy crawlies. Certainly, if you saw something like that, I suppose late at night or something like that. But as far as this movie goes, it's well written, well received. I believe it came out in 2007. It's a Stephen King. It's a film adaptation of a book. The book ending I've heard is better. I have not read the book, but the ending of the movie adaptation, it'll rip your heart out of your chest. It's a very sad ending. The movie itself is good. It's like this military experiment type of thing, and basically, this is the story. These people get trapped in this convenience store type thing, hardware store, I guess, type of thing, convenience store / hardware store, whatever. And the mist comes over this town. It's like like I said, a military experiment. And they're stuck, and they can't get out. And this one guy that comes in there warns them about don't go back out there in that mist. And there's things out there. He didn't know what they were. He got away from them as quick as he could, and before being out of the picture, so to speak, taken out. And then you have a father and son type of dynamic thing that's going, where he's trying to protect his son, and he's stuck in the store, and he's trying to help all these other people. And it just gives you that feeling something's going to happen. And then when all of the bugs basically brush the glass, because they try to get through the glass, you can't. They didn't have enough like soil and stuff like that to barricade the whole front, and there's no like chain drop down thing where you could just, you know, barricade around the whole thing. So they have no choice but to just wait. And then the insects that were in the mist that were, I guess they were mutated or what have you, they make it into the store, and people are stung, and like this one girl, her face swells up to like the size of a big giant balloon, like it's gonna burst, and it's gnarly. It's very horror inspired, and you can see where Stephen King, he's done other things like It, and things like that, and you can see where he gets his inspiration from. Um, like all of his inspiration for things, you can see it in It is creepy. Is this like alien type entity or whatever, and he's like a clown. And then you have, like I'm saying with the mist, again, creepy bugs, phobia. I guess that's what I'm saying. He gets his inspiration from playing off of people's fears, which is really interesting to me. And I enjoyed the movie. Definitely gave me, even I got the just sitting there with my, trying to have my arms crossed, trying to like this, trying to just watch it and just, yeah, I'm cool. I don't ever get, bugged out but on the inside I'm thinking, oh, please don't, a bunch of spiders come out of him. And then a bunch of spiders come out of him, and I'm like, yep, I knew it. And it's just, because even my friend said that. He said, yep, it's going to be just like this other movie. And I can't remember. Maybe he'll remind me or leave a comment. He was telling me about another movie, and that was a similar scene. And and then it all ties together at the end. There's this huge creature. He tries to get some of the people that he can. He can fit like 8 people, or something like 7 or 8 people in his Jeep. And he tries to get out of there because he has just enough gas that he thinks he can get out of the mist. But he takes the pistol with him. In the movie ending, and spoiler alert, he ends up realizing that there's no getting out of the mist, and they run out of gas. And then basically he offs everybody, but then he realizes that he doesn't have a way out now of this turmoil, just reliving a nightmare of that, being scared of going outside, things like that, not being able to live life because of the mist, because of the insects in the mist and what they can do to you. And there's a spider that has acid webbing, and it like burns through the side of this dude's face in one scene, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, and burns his leg, like cuts it open. And it is, if you have any kind of phobia, insect phobia, arachnophobia, anything like that, you might want to steer clear of it. I have a little bit of it. I don't like them on me. It's not like I'm not going to put a spider or a tarantula on my face and let it crawl around. No. But do I understand why they exist? Yes. But do I like them on me? No. And that's just, that's just how it is. But Stephen King plays off of people's fears, and he does that well in this movie, as well as he did with It and his other movie, even some of his other movies that I'll have to go back and watch. But overall, The Mist it's a good movie, and it does what it sets out to do. It's gory, and I don't remember it having a lot of language in it. It was just kind of what you would expect. I believe, I'm gonna check something for everybody. Okay, it is R-rated. I thought it was PG-13 before. An R-rated film that came out in 2007. It's really not, in my opinion, that bad. I know everybody says, oh, well, you have your standard, I have mine, and that's true, because I don't think it's all that bad. And I'm also only 27, and I've always liked sci-fi and like slasher films or grindhouse. things of that nature. You know, medieval stuff, just fantasy stuff. I always like stuff like that. Something that's, I know it's not real, but it's on screen in front of me. And how cool is that? I've always enjoyed stuff like that where you know it's not real, but and it would probably never ever happen. But what's interesting is how he brings the military into it, because it could. If you had a science experiment and enough scientists within, like, maybe, you know, something that's classified, it very well could. But we don't, again, you don't know that, and all that you know is it's not going to happen. You know, they've got more sense than that, hopefully, in real life, I mean. And it just very, but it's very, like I said, it's very, very gory in some uh, sequences and segments. And I mean, there's this tentacle monster thing, but I still have no idea where the heck that thing came from. Was it a part of, just a little part of that big creature that you see at the end? That's like, it's like 3 AT-ATs from Star Wars height wise, maybe even more, maybe like 10. I mean, it's just over the whole entire town, and it's interesting because at the very end, at the last second, this other convoy comes through, and they've got people that they've rescued out of homes with masks, like gas mask type things on, respirators, and that have been injured or whatever, and they're helping them, and then they're like burning all the webs in the nest of like the different bugs and stuff with flamethrowers and shoot them and things like that. And then he's just left with nobody. He has nobody now. And it was just, it's a sad ending, because then the mist is like lifted. As soon as the military gets there, it's like the mist just goes away, like it never happened. And it was very creepy and eerie, and like something's not right here. What's going to happen next? And I think he delivered in that movie on that, with that vibe and that atmosphere, and just what I don't believe he wrote and directed it, but you know what I mean. As far as writing the book, and then they portrayed it through film, yeah, he did a good job writing and pinning down that story. So it's about all that I can say about it, about these movies, and about what I've been watching recently, what I like, just sharing with you guys, and hope everyone stays safe and peace.